The theme of this week's vlog is going to be chill because I have so much going on this week. I want to take you along with me, and I'm not going to be able to vlog much in the next few weeks. I'll get into why in a little bit. There's actually some exciting life updates that go along with that. But if I don't do this in a chill, calm way, then it's not gonna happen at all. We are going to sew. I have quite a few sewing and crochet projects that I want to dive into this week. My skirt pattern is also in the middle of testing. And as I alluded to, there's a lot of like life and regular things happening this week as well. So we're just gonna do all of it. I wanna talk about the sewing projects that I'm gonna get into. So let's go look at fabric. Welcome to my fabric closet. I'm in a state of excess fabric right now, kind of have been for a few months. But actually let me know, because sometimes people will see my stash of fabric here and they'll be like, oh, that's all you have? But I feel like it's a lot. I try to stay fairly minimalist. I hate seeing just a crap ton of things shoved in a closet. So I'd actually prefer a little bit less than this, but maybe we can get through some of my fabrics this week so I don't have quite as much. Starting off, this red plaid checked fabric, it's a linen, actually, a washed linen from Blackbird. When they sent this to me, I was immediately in love with them. I wasn't totally sure what I was gonna make with it, but it was very much giving summer. But now that my skirt pattern is in the works, I feel like it would be an amazing Sandra skirt. If you've been keeping up to date with the skirt pattern, there's a version that has godets, which are like extra pie-shaped panels, or just like more of a straight skirt, although it's like an A-line shape, so it does flare out a bit. But I feel like a regular, simple Sandra skirt with this would be really, really cute, possibly with either like a matching top made of the same material or like a white tank or some such. I do need to make a few more Sandra skirts, mostly for going through the instructions a few times myself to make sure that they are making sense to me, and also to show different versions and give different examples and have lots of like samples to show people and talk about and whatever. Every pattern that I make has a detailed video tutorial so that you can follow the written instructions in the pattern, or you can follow along with the video. That is something that's very important to me. But when I film those tutorials, I have to be very specific with the fabric I use, because it needs to be pretty simple, nothing too busy, and it needs to have clear right and wrong sides of the fabric. And since this fabric is a woven, like the pattern is woven into it, the right and wrong sides look exactly the same. So I can't use this for the tutorial. So if I decided to make one, it would be more for an example of one to show, and also just for like personal joy. Not a bad reason, but I need to have one Sandra skirt that is made for the tutorial. In fact, I'm gonna need to make two, because I'm gonna need to make a simple version and one with godets for the tutorial. So that's gonna require multiple different fabrics that have a right or wrong side, which might get a little tricky. This one I have big plans for as well. I made a skyline dress out of this last summer, and I think it is my favorite skyline dress. This is actually another washed linen from Blackbird, and I love the way it feels and wears. I have about 2 yards left of it. I saw this post from, let me double check her name. It's a post from Crafty on TikTok, and it's like a roundup of outfits she wears, but she specifically has this one outfit where she's wearing these like kind of bright greenish pants. And I saved it because I was like, that is a pair of pants that I don't have, even though I do have probably way more linen pants than I need. I was like, that's a color I don't have, and I really don't have anything super similar either. And most of my linen pants are gingham, but I would love to have more solid colors for the summer. My winter lane pants, which is the pattern that I'm thinking of using, my winter lane pants are all solid colors in like heavier twills, and my summer ones are like linens, but they're all ginghams. And so I want a solid color linen pair of lane pants. And I looked at that post and I was like, oh, I need to get some of those. And I even went to try to find some to buy it. And then I remembered I basically have a really similar color. It's not exactly the same. It's close enough that I would feel pretty silly if I bought it. What do you guys think? Is that close enough? I think it is. The only problem is the fabric requirements for my size of the lane pants is 2.5 yards. I only have 2-ish yards, maybe like 2.25. I need to measure it to double check. And so I'm gonna see if I can maybe crop them or do some sort of something, some sort of alteration to make it work. I'm gonna map that out in Illustrator actually right after I go through fabric. So I'll kind of show you my process for that. These are more like woven plaids, sort of. These are all from Fabulism. They're from a Fabulism collection that's going to be launching, I think, in June. So they sent me some in advance, which was so sweet. Immediately, it's like, oh, these would be a beautiful Sandra skirt for sure. But again, there's no clear right or wrong side, so I can't use it for the tutorial. It would have to be more of a just for fun skirt, which I'm not against, but it's like, where do we draw the line? How many skirts should I make before it's just too many skirts? Plus, I think it would be really great if I used these two fabrics that are very similar. They're just slightly different colorways. This one's a little more like bolder and darker. This one's a little bit more light. And I think it would be awesome if I did probably this fabric as the main fabric for the skirt and the godets were this one. So it's like different enough that there's a contrast in the different panels, and so it would just give an extra element of depth to the skirt panels. I really like this idea. I'm probably gonna do it eventually, but again, this is just so many skirts. In fact, usually when I have to make a lot of one pattern, when I'm launching a certain pattern, I know that I'm not gonna get wear out of every single version I make, and so usually I give the extras to my sister. A lot of times I coordinate with her as I'm making them to like make them in her size, which is very similar to my size, but I'll make them specifically for her or let her pick fabrics that I'm using. I haven't talked to her about it this time, but I'm sure she'd take some of my skirts. An alternate option would be to maybe sell some of these, not necessarily for profit, so I'd probably not make them very expensive, but I do get questions quite often of people wanting ready-made items instead of a pattern because they don't sew. And I usually don't do like commissions. I don't make pieces for people, but if I have extras, then I could sell them if people wanted to buy them. Or maybe I could figure out a way to like auction them for a cause. I don't know. If you guys have recommendations, let me know, because I do tend to end up with a few extra than I need when I'm in this like patterning period of time. These are the first option that would work for the video tutorial. So I have this viscose linen blend strawberry print that I got from Fluid Plus Drape last summer. I used part of it for a bag that I made, and it's so flipping cute. And I knew I was just gonna hang on to it. I think I bought like 6 or 7 yards of it, and I knew that I would use it all eventually. This one does have clear right and wrong sides. So you can see the print. The wrong side is much less bold, I guess. So this would work for a tutorial. The only thing is I would have to line it because this fabric isn't opaque enough to be a single layer. So I'd have to line it, which would be fine, but it's also kind of heavy. I don't know. It might be worth it because I don't want to have to buy more fabric for the tutorial. This one does have clear and right and wrong sides as well. This one is from Ruby Star Society, and it's a quilting cotton, but it has a really nice feel to it. So I feel like it could be good for apparel too. Can you tell right and wrong sides? I don't know, maybe it doesn't show up as well on camera as I thought it did. That might help decide. Okay, the other fabrics I want to show you are up in my loft, so let's get them out. I keep my bigger bolts of fabric up here because they don't fit in the regular closet. This is a hack I use for Joanne specifically, which I guess isn't really relevant anymore. But if you get enough fabric and you ask them to leave it on the bolt, they'll do it, which is great for me. Okay, option number 1 from the loft is this green, gosh. Is it on its regular bolt? Yes, see, this is so helpful because I don't remember always what the fabric is made of. This is a slub cotton. I got it maybe like a year ago. I very much doubt they still have it, but it's like a pale neutral green, 100% cotton. It's really good drape to it. And I almost feel like maybe that could be the godets in this fabric. It's really lightweight, so it would be nice. And then I have this denim, which I'm so glad I remembered about because when I designed the Sandra skirt, I was thinking this would be so cute in a denim, like a lightweight denim. And I forgot that I already have some. This is a 4-ounce denim from Joanne. It's a Lucky brand. I've liked their Lucky brand collab. I've done a lot of stuff with their denim. In fact, I made a ruby vest out of this not too long ago. But it clearly has a right and wrong side. Oh, I just remembered the green doesn't have a right and wrong side. Ugh, okay, never mind, that wouldn't work. Anyway, this one does. Right and wrong side, very clearly. I'm probably going to make the simple skirt version in the tutorial out of this denim. I feel like it would be really cute, and it would be like a cute flowy denim skirt, very boho vibes. I'm imagining it'll be one of my favorite skirts that I make. So those are all the projects I kind of have on my brain. I probably am going to make the lane pants tonight. I'm gonna go tile together the pattern on Illustrator. I'm gonna kind of show you how I do it and then use my projector to project and cut it out. I'll at least get through that tonight, and then I might make them in the morning. And then I'm also gonna make 1 or 2 Sandra skirts as well. I probably for sure will make this one because I love it so much. And then possibly a Sandra skirt from one of these as well this week. And I put up a crochet video yesterday because I want to make more crochet tops, especially. I mean, there's a lot of other summery things I want to make too, which is what that whole video is about. But I put up some pattern ideas that I got for other crochet tops that I want to make. And so I'm going to decide by tomorrow which one I'm going to sew because, or not sew, which one I'm going to crochet because I'm going to go to the yarn store tomorrow and get yarn for it. Let's jump into Illustrator. First, I got some rough but accurate enough estimates of how big of a cutting surface I had left on the fabric, which ended up being 52 inches by 65.5 inches. And then I put that size of rectangle into Illustrator, grabbed the pattern pieces from my projector file, and started mapping them out. It became evident pretty quickly that the pattern pieces were not going to fit if they were going along the grain line how they should. However, I could fit one of the back pant legs if it's going cross grain. And I know that you're not technically supposed to do that. That's not like the right way to do it, right? I would never tell somebody else that like, yes, you should do that. But guys, I really want to make this pair of pants, and I've had this fabric in my stash for like a year, and it's such a cute summery fabric. I finally found the perfect project for it. I feel like it's worth trying. The worst thing that could happen is one of my back pant legs might fall a little bit differently on my body than the other ones will, especially since this is not a directional fabric. It's not like this has to be cut on the bias and I'm cutting it on the grain. That would be a different story. And this is very much how I sew and how I create things for myself, is I'm kind of just like, eh, that's fine. So we're gonna try it out and see how it goes. I'm feeling fine about it. I got all of my fabric cut out. Some of it I had to cut a little wonky with the pocket bags, but it's fine, it's gonna work out. And then I hit up the yarn store for a variety of crochet projects that I ended up buying. I got the goods, secured some good yarns, and I'm gonna walk through what I got, show you everything that I'm making and all the yarns that I picked up for it. So I settled on 3 patterns that I talked about in my last video. If you missed that, here's a link, you can go watch it. The first pattern I decided to work on is the Lucy sweater by Nastia Crochets. I think I'm gonna do a kind of bold blue for that one. So I picked up this Cascadia Noble cotton, which is actually the exact same cotton that I used for my pink that I made, and I really, really liked working with it. So I feel like, oop, it's falling apart. I feel like this is gonna be a great yarn for that sweater. It's slightly lighter weight than the pattern recommended, but I feel like it'll be totally fine. In fact, I prefer a lighter yarn anyway. And then I actually picked up the same kind of yarn in red for the Abuela tank, which was highly recommended. That's one that people commented a lot that they've made it, loved the way it sits on them. And so I got red for that. I really wanted a red tank, whether it was crocheted, knit, sewn, whatever. I've had my eye on something like that for a while. So I picked up same yarn for that. And then I'm going to make an island cardigan by Jewel Makes, and I'm gonna do it short sleeve. There was a particular tester photo in the product listing that I really, really loved that was short sleeve, and it was like a dark navy. And so I got this yarn that is, let me make sure I remember, it's an upcycled superwash wool. And when I was checking out, the lady at the store was like, oh, I recently worked with that and I loved it. So I'm feeling excited about that. I was kind of looking for a cotton. The pattern and like vibe I was going for was giving cotton yarn, but the feel of this and like the look of it is really good. So I feel like that's gonna be fine. So those are the 3 yarns I got. I also grabbed this knitting book called Knit How. I was particularly looking for a knitting book because when I learned to crochet, the way I did it is I went away for a weekend just for like a solo trip, and on that trip I had bought a book and I just kind of dug into that book and let that book teach me, which was really helpful because it has like diagrams of the different stitches, and then it has like a few practice projects and patterns. And I wanted a similar vibe for learning how to knit because I'm going to Maine in a couple weeks, which I keep talking about, so you probably already know. When I go to Maine, I wanted to have a book that I can learn to knit from so that everything's kind of just in one place. And once I feel like I know the basics, then I can dive into actual like patterns and projects. So yeah, I got the book. They had a whole like bookshelf of different knitting, crochet, yarn, sock books, and I looked through a bunch of them, picked this one, and again, when I was checking out, the lady was like, oh, I love that book. That's our favorite learn how to knit book. And she's like, that's actually the last one we have. And she said that the business that made it, Pom Pom, is out of business. And so she's like, I don't think they're making it anymore. And that's our last one and it's our favorite. So I'm feeling pretty confident about that. So that's the haul. Feeling good about it. I also did go have my nails done and I love them. I feel like they turned out so cute. They're like little kind of Frenchies, but flowers. Anyway, I'm obsessed with them. I feel like they're nice and simple. These are my tutorial nails when I film the Sandra skirt tutorial next week. I recently got this Swift, which I'll be setting up. I've had a yarn winder for a few months. I got one for Christmas, but I'm excited to use the Swift. So we're gonna wind all of the yarn that I got, or as much as I can. I might not be very good at it. We'll see how it goes. But it's actually been a few days since I went to the yarn store. I haven't really been vlogging because life has just gotten super crazy. So in the last vlog, I mentioned that we put an offer in on a house that day. We had sort of just started looking at houses. We thought it would be a while until we like found one that we really liked, but we just so happened to find one really quickly that we did really like. So we had put an offer in on that house and the update is that it was accepted, which means we're going to be moving. We're kind of in prep mode right now. Obviously there's a lot going on and a lot that's going to go into that. If you're a Swift pro, you're probably watching this process like, what is she doing? But we're going to figure it out. We're very excited about it, but that will mean that I'm going to be obviously leaving this shed and this studio space. And if you're new here, there are actually quite a few people new around here. So I maybe should kind of give some background information. About a year ago, I built this shed that I work out of myself. I have a whole like tour video when it first was finished that I kind of talked more about the specifics, but basically I had a company come and they do the shell, right? Like they put up the outside structure of a shed, and usually you just keep it as a shed. Tools, lawnmower, whatever, things like that. But I decided to finish the inside of mine. So we drywalled it, we did like the cedar plank ceiling, we put in the flooring, I made these built-in wardrobes and the bench and the shelves. It was a whole thing. It was an endeavor. It took me about 7-8 weeks of full-time work, which was quite a lot. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people who think I'm crazy for moving and for leaving. However, I do think you need to understand that our house we live in right now is insanely small. It's very, very, very tiny. We always knew we were gonna have to move eventually, mostly because we have kids and our house is just not big enough for them to have the space that they need, especially as they're getting older. We have one bathroom, one really small bathroom, which is getting quite tricky with, you know, a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. Our bedrooms are super small, which is fine. And guys, I have always lived in quite small houses. We've always had little teeny houses. It is possible to live in a small house. I'm not saying that you like can't do it as a family. We've done it for a long time. We're over it. We really need more space. I mean, that was the whole reason we built this in the first place. There's nowhere in my house that I could work from. I was basically sewing off of my dining room table, which I think is super common for sewists who create for fun, right? That's like a normal thing. But because this became my business and I really needed my own space to be creating and sewing and whatever, we decided to build this shed. So this whole big thing, we did it last year. I always knew that we would move eventually. I always knew that I was gonna leave my shed. All right, really quick, let's see if this is gonna work. Did I do it right? Ah, this is exciting. Okay. Wait, no, this is the best ever. I got the Swift because every time I would wind the yarn, I'd like try to set it on the back of a chair or like around my knees or something, and it would just always get tangled up. So, oh, this is revolutionary. Where was I? Moving. So we found a house. We are moving. I do think I might do a like farewell tour of the shed, maybe like make a video, because it has evolved a bit since it was finished, like in organization and how I kind of have things set up and whatever. I may do like a final tour of the shed. And I also feel like I might do a tour of our new house, at least parts of it or like the main parts of it. I don't want to like invade my family's privacy too much, but there are some like really exciting things that I'd love to show you guys and some like projects that I want to work on. Okay, but main things that I'm excited about at the new house. Number one is my new office. So that's one thing that we really obviously had to look for when we were looking for houses. We need a space that or a house that has a space for me to work, whether that's like a bedroom or like a basement or attic or bonus room or some sort of space that has, like, I need a lot of space for sure. I need a lot of storage, light, I need like windows and natural light. So we're really specific. So either a house that has those things or a house that has a backyard big enough where we could build another shed. That was something that I had considered. It was so much work. I did most of it on my own. I had my father-in-law came and helped with the electrical and the drywalling because that stuff was kind of intimidating. I didn't really know how to do it. So he helped with that stuff and then he left again and I finished the rest of everything else. After I was done building this shed, I felt like I'm never doing that again. It was so much work. Not that like I couldn't do it, but I just felt like, you know, after you have a baby, you're like, man, I don't think I can do that again. And then after a while, after a few months, I was like, maybe I'll build another shed. That could be fun. So our new house has an office space for me. It's a bedroom, but it's really big. It has nice flooring, huge closets. It has two big, like, they're not walk-in closets, but they're like bigger than my wardrobe. Two big in the wall wardrobe closet spaces, giant windows, and it's on a corner of the house. So there's windows on two sides and it has a real wood burning fireplace inside of the room, which is crazy. Okay, pause. This cake is done. I feel like it could be tighter. Maybe I'll hold the thread for my next one. Learning lessons here. Okay, let me grab the next yarn. Pause. Okay, where was I? The office. So my new office is gonna be nice. It's not the shed. I almost feel like you can't really beat the shed because not only is it like super cute and great, but it's like secluded from my house. It's not in the mix of everything. Even though where the new bedroom is in the house that's going to be my office, it's quite separate from, you know, the rest of the house. It's not in the middle of everything. It's, you know, like I said, it's in the corner of the house. And technically it is bigger than this shed, which I didn't think we'd be able to find bedroom inside of a home that would be bigger than this. This one's 10 by 16 and I can't remember the exact dimensions of the other one. Was that 160 square feet? I think that's right. The other one is like 190 or 180. So I am sad about the shed, and honestly, if I think about it too much, I'll probably cry. But it's just what had to happen, and it came a bit sooner than I thought, but I always knew that we would be leaving the shed. And as for other things about the house that I'm excited about, because there's so much, I guess number one, it's just bigger than our house now. We'll have much more living space. Our kids will have bedrooms where they can actually like play into instead of like just room for a bed. We have a second like living room area, so if they are playing outside of their rooms or whatever, it's not like there's only one place where every single person in the house is. Like literally my house right now, you walk through the front door and like you can see everything. Everything's just right there. There's like one room that's the living room, we eat there, the kitchen's there, and then you like turn a little and all the bedrooms are right there. So it's like everyone's on top of each other all the time. So there will be room for the kids to play more. They can have friends over and not have everyone like right in the way. Our kitchen's much bigger. We've always had super tiny kitchens, so it's gonna be crazy to like put things away, and it's like we have options of cabinets. We are gonna have space for a piano, which I'm very excited about. We haven't had a piano since 2018 when we lived in Spokane. Still had a small house there, but it was big enough that we could fit a piano. We since then have not lived anywhere that like there's not been a single corner of any room that wasn't full to the brim. Our bedroom is gonna be like a good size. We have our own bathroom. We'll have a closet that's like walk-in as well, which I don't think you understand. Our bedroom right now is so small. We have a king bed that we got a couple houses ago that fit there. And then when we moved, we didn't want to have to buy a new bed because we knew we weren't going to be here forever, but our bed does not fit in our room really. It's pushed up into a corner, and for the past 2.5 years, I have had to climb over the end of the bed and I've slept against the corner. Like, I mean, that's not the worst. Like, I'm thankful that I have a bed and I have a place to sleep, but I feel so silly and I hate like having to get up in the middle of the night, like climbing over the bed. I just feel like a child. So I'm very excited to just roll out of bed and put my feet down. I don't have to climb over anything. It's revolutionary. And our backyard is gonna be really nice. So it's kind of foresty. We live in Oregon. Our yard now I really like as well. We have a good sized yard here, but it's just flat and grass, which has been great. Our new yard is very much like foresty, and there's little nooks and crannies that the kids can have adventures in, and it's just like a vibe. So I hope I can give you a bit of a tour when we move. Oh yes, the tension of this is so much better. I'm learning. Look at that cake. That's a beautiful thing of yarn. I have to show you. This is the one that I did before where I wasn't holding the yarn. This is the one where I was holding the yarn. This one's just like already falling apart. I'm probably gonna rewind it, honestly. I actually don't know if that's good or bad, but to me, this one feels more manageable. The lady at the yarn store also told me, she said when you wind your balls, normally you grab from the center, like a center pull ball, but she said for cotton yarn, which these are cotton, to pull from the outside, because if you pull from the inside, it'll kind of like collapse on itself. I'd never heard that, so I was like, okay, that totally makes sense. She was so nice. But the reason that I have been MIA for the past couple days, which you guys don't really know, but I did kind of drop everything and get sucked into normal life stuff, I guess. Our house that we live in now, potentially renting it, like we had considered, like, should we try to rent it out or should we sell it? We weren't really sure, kind of up in the air, and we decided kind of last minute earlier this week that we were gonna list it for sale and see, just kind of like see the offers we get to help us decide, which I don't know, is maybe sort of crazy. But we had felt like we had plenty of time in this moving timeline to, you know, pack up, organize, deep clean, get everything moved over. And then this week we're like, let's list our house this weekend. So everything just got really crazy all at once. We've been, you know, like fixing up little things, different handles that have fallen off and lighting things and curtain rods and just like getting things fixed up so that we could list our house. So I have been deep cleaning for the past like 3 days straight, deep cleaning, organizing, kind of starting to box stuff up, clean my kids' rooms, get my kids to help. It's been a whole thing. And in the midst of a pattern almost being launched, which is a crazy work time for me anyways. And testers have started to send like pictures and things of their skirts being finished, and they're looking so cute. I don't think you guys understand how excited I am for the skirt launch. There's just something about this pattern that feels so like meant to be. I don't know. I'm obsessed with it. So I'm gonna finish winding these yarns. I don't think I'll get into any sewing today. I've had my pants and my skirt all cut and ready to go, just sitting on my poor table, and I hope to get to them soon. I don't know when I will. And then my kids have like music and sports stuff tonight that I have to take them to. So I'm gonna start on some crochet projects while I'm, you know, being a mom. Had our house's pictures taken today for like the listing, sale listing, whatever, for the house. And it goes up tomorrow, and we're expecting to have, I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed, some interest and like people coming to see it over the next few days. So we've been cleaning like our lives depend on it the last few days. Cleaning, decluttering, packing a bit, and it's all kind of done for now. Crossed the finish line as far as that goes. So I'm going to be doing some sewing tonight. It's getting sort of late. It's only like 7 right now. So I'm gonna see if I can finish these pants in like an hour or two. I feel like it'll go pretty quickly. I feel like I've made the lane pants enough that I could probably do it with my eyes closed and my hands tied behind my back. So let's see how fast we can make a pair of pants. It would be awesome if I could like wear them tomorrow. I feel like that helps sometimes motivate me to finish a project quickly, is like thinking about being able to wear it the next day. So let's see if we can get these pants done. The pants are done. The lighting situation's a little bit crazy. The headphone situation's a little bit crazy. Probably should have taken those off. I'll do a proper outfit with these pants tomorrow, but I just needed to show you guys because I'm obsessed with them. I feel like they turned out so cute. Let me tip you down actually. There. You see better? Yes. They're actually perfect. They're exactly what I imagined. I feel like the inspo picture of Carms is like really matching these pants. So I'm in love with them. I feel like they're a good like summery color. This linen is like a dream in this pattern. This may be my hectic week speaking more than anything, but I feel like I'm having a bit of an emotional moment with these pants, and not these pants specifically, even though I do love them. But every time I make a pair, and I've made so many pairs, and I put them on, I just feel this like overwhelming sense of pride and happiness for like how well they fit. First of all, the fact that it's like my first pattern, it's my most popular pattern. I get tagged in thousands of pairs of pants that people have made of my pattern, which just feels like so surreal and crazy. And I have so much like gratitude that people want to make something that I created. It's my personal favorite pattern of all of the ones I have, and like it's the pattern that changed my life 100%. And so I'm actually gonna cry about it. No, I'm not. But it just feels like this crazy full circle moment. For years and years and years, I sewed for myself, made things for myself, had this like pipe dream of making my own patterns someday and sharing these things with people. But just to fast forward in my brain from like all those years of kind of dreaming of that to now being in my like cute studio. This is my job. I get to do this all day long. Sew things, create things, make things, share things with you guys. It just feels so insane that it like kind of started with pants. Guys, I like cry about sewing way more than you'd think. There's so many times while I'm working that I just am like, oh, this is the best. And then I'll just cry about it. Or like I'll think about my grandma and cry about it, because both my grandmas sewed a lot. And anyways, I did finish pretty quickly. It's like 9:30. Took a little bit of a break to voice message my sister, so I can be forgiven for that. But it took me about 2 hours to make the pants. I'm gonna turn in. I'll see you guys tomorrow. My son has a soccer game. You might see me crocheting a little bit there. Might do a smidge of a hike. And we are going to make the red Sandra skirt tomorrow. I've done the one side of the skirt. It's all completed and looks very nice. I just need to pin together the second side. Ta-da! And I keep having to pause and pack up and leave, like literally pack up, clean everything up and leave, because there's people coming in like seeing our house. There's been a lot of showings today, and so we keep having to like pause, clean up our house really quick, because it's hard to keep a teeny tiny space with 2 kids spotless. Clean everything up, hightail it out of here. So I've had a lot of interruptions. This skirt is taking a lot longer than it should because of that, but it's fine. But I did sneak away to a movie by myself this afternoon. I went and saw the 2005 Pride and Prejudice because it's doing like a re-release for the 20th anniversary, which you may have heard about. So I feel like it's a good opportunity to give you my dissertation about Jane Austen adaptations, because a lot of you spotted in my Oregon Coast vlog that I did, I was watching the 1995 version of Pride and Prejudice. I do have a lot of thoughts about like which adaptation is my favorite and Jane Austen adaptations in general, but after seeing the 2005 one, literally I just got home. I feel like I really have a lot of thoughts about it now. So to give preface, I grew up watching all of the Jane Austen adaptations, reading Jane Austen books. It was like a big thing for my mom especially, but like in my family, like we would all sit around on Sunday nights. I feel like Sunday nights was a very like BBC, PBS classics night for us. My dad would watch them, my brothers would watch them. And so I feel pretty qualified to speak about it, both because I feel like I've seen basically any adaptation there is, and I've read all the books lots of times. The first time I read Pride and Prejudice, I think I was in 5th grade. And since then, like every couple years I've read it. So I reread it last fall, and then I watched the 95 version just like a month or so ago. And I will say, so if we're just talking about Pride and Prejudice, because I think my favorite Jane Austen stories are probably Persuasion and Sense and Sensibility. Those are like my top 2. Love Pride and Prejudice as well. It's not my very favorite, but if we're just talking about those, there's always big discourse around which adaptation is the best one of 2005 versus 95. For me, 95 is the elite version. It's the best version. And I think I would say that as an adaptation. It's the better adaptation. As far as just like what movie is better, I'd probably say 2005, but in my mind, I have to kind of separate it out because there's a lot of things about the 2005 one that I feel like are not good adaptations. And I have so many thoughts. I'll try to like explain them well enough. I do really like the 2005 movie. I feel like it's good. I really like the songs. I like the costume, the design, the aesthetics, all of that stuff is really great. However, I think the things that I love about Jane Austen stories in general, the 2005 Pride and Prejudice don't capture as well. And I think, I was thinking about it in the movie today, I think specifically the things I love about it are Jane Austen's dialogue, like her conversations between characters, and the way that she sort of holds back a bit. Like it feels very realistic because it's not overly dramatic and especially overly romantic, which is my biggest complaint, I guess, about this more recent adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. It's very dramatic and romantic and it works really well for a movie, but it is just not a very true adaptation because Jane Austen works within these bounds of like propriety, you know, like she uses that very much as like plot points and the way that like characters interact with each other and talk with each other and whatever. And there's so many things in the 2005 version that it's like they would never say that, they would never do that. Like the amount of times characters are seeing each other like in their pajamas and stuff, it's like, anyway, that's a bit of a tangent. So I feel like that misses the mark a little bit. And my maybe biggest criticism about the 2005 version is Mr. Darcy. Not that the character does anything horribly wrong. I feel like he does do a good job, but they completely, in my opinion, mischaracterize him because they turn him into just like a shy, misunderstood puppy instead of a proud, prideful man, which is what he is. This version kind of presents Lizzie as the only one, in my opinion. It seems like she's the one who's prideful and she just has to learn that she misunderstood him the whole time. She even says at the end, she's like, I've been so dumb, I've misunderstood him, I've treated or judged him wrongly or whatever. But in the book, in the actual story, like, no, he actually is pompous. Like he's not shy and like, oh, I'm just bad at having conversations. Like there's a hint of that, but he really is proud. And so I think that that changes the theme of the story a lot by changing his character so much. And again, I feel like that makes for a great story and a great movie, the way that they've changed that. I think it's like interesting and good, but I just have to separate it because it, to me, changes the story so much. So I guess that's my little soapbox. I could talk about this literally forever. And as far as my like favorite adaptations of the Jane Austen ones, I really like the 2008 Sense and Sensibility. That one is very good. I think That one is great because it is really long. Like they released it in episodes on like BBC and PBS Masterpiece. It's like different in different countries. So there's like multiple episodes of it. I think it's 3 hours long. And so it gives it enough breathing room. And aesthetically, I think it's really good as well. And they still have enough time to kind of develop the story, because that's another thing about the 2005 Pride and Prejudice. It's just so rushed. And I get that it has to be because it's a long story and they're trying to fit it into this, what, like maybe 2.5 hour runtime. So obviously they have to rush through things, but they just like cruise. They like are bulldozing through the story. Everything seems so rushed. There's so many pivotal conversations that are just like minimized to this tiny little like back and forth, and they change the dialogue so much that it's just like, but wait, this is so important, like slow down. 2008 Sense and Sensibility, great. 2008 Emma is also really great for similar reasons. I feel like it does the story so much justice. And then I also really like the 95 Persuasion. I think Persuasion needs an update. It's such a good story. It's so, I don't know if relatable is the right thing. It really like wrenches at you. I feel like Persuasion is due for a new adaptation. The Dakota Johnson one came out like a couple years ago and it was awful because they basically just made it Bridgerton, which this is the last thing I'm gonna say. It really does grind my gears when people conflate Bridgerton and Jane Austen. Like I see why it's like, okay, these are like similar things, but they're really not. They're really, really, really not. They're not the same thing. And it's fine to love one, the other, both totally great. But the things that I love about Jane Austen and the things that she truly was great at was not like these overly romantic storylines. That is like not her jam at all. It's more like familial relationships and like wacky characters and comedy. I feel like that's what she's so gold at. So it really drives me crazy when there are these like this recent Persuasion adaptation that I feel like just poops on everything that Jane Austen was. Drives me crazy. I actually got into a really heated debate with a coworker once about how Jane Austen is not cottagecore, because he was saying it is cottagecore, but literally the only thing he had ever seen was the 2005 Pride and Prejudice. So it's like, I get why you say that, but you actually don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I feel like I'm getting too emotional about this. I'm gonna finish my skirt. This upcoming week, I'm going to be doing finishing touches on the Sandra skirt pattern. That should be released probably about a week after this goes live. So I'm going to link the pattern hub page, which if you're unfamiliar, all of my patterns have a hub where you can purchase the pattern if you want to, but also there's like all the information you could ever want to know about the pattern, like different hacks, the sizing of it, what the files include, sewing tools like clips and things like that that I find really helpful for specific patterns. I like link those, and anyway, it's just this giant hub of information. So I've created the hub already for this pattern, and I've put on there all the information you could want to know about it. There's even a little like sign up if you want to be notified when it launches so that you don't have to like constantly be checking again. You can sign up for that, and it should be released in about a week. So big things happening there, big things happening with the move. Life feels like it's moving at 2 million miles an hour right now. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this week. Comment what you are sewing on and what you're working on. Lots of people tell me that they are crafting, sewing, crocheting, whatever, while they're watching my videos. So I love to hear what you guys are working on. Love you guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.